Hi, it's Hans at happierman.com. Today's topic is happier older men do what? Right? So what would you be doing if you're an older guy like me? I'm in my 50s, mid 50s, and I guess the oldness is relative, right? Whether you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s or more. But I think in general, I'm quite happy, much happier than I was back in 15 or 20 years ago, and even much happier than I was as a young man. So I think I have a lot to offer here. One of the things that the main thing I did was I left my wife. My wife wasn't good for me, and there was various reasons why she wasn't good to me, or why she couldn't refuse to be nice. And I outline those in my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with a 3-step system. It's available on the happierman.com website. So if you have this terrible marriage, your chance of having a good life is like zero, right? Your marriage or even significant relationship with a woman is going to make your life just terrible, no matter which way you slice it. So that's first, right? The relationships you have, if that one main relationship is bad, your life is that you're not going to be happy. So I left her, went through the divorce, and there's tremendous problems afterwards, but I worked my way out of them, and I just keep getting happier all the time. You know, the farther, more space I put between now and then. I don't really think about those days that much. If I do, I get sad, depressed, and angry, frustrated. So I don't do that, right? So the relationships, that's first. You need to, I would say you want no bad relationships at all. The more closer you get to that, the better your life is going to be. And certainly you want to minimize them. And if you have a bad relationship with the main people in your life, yeah, it's going to be impossible to have a good life. Like, so your wife, if you got like a problematic other family members, problematic working relationships, yeah, life is going to be terrible. And that's what you should spend a lot of time figuring out what the problem is and then correcting it. So I have the good advice for you in my book, Leave Your Wife, but you may have other issues that you need to work on. That's first, the relationships, the main relationships. The other thing is you want to be fairly happy with what you do for a living, making enough money, having quality of life benefits, paying your bills on time, and then you be happy in the doing of what you're doing. You know, I'm still trying to make a little money on the side, but the main income is a job, a normal 40-hour-a-week job, and I think most people will find, yeah, it's probably what you have. The thing with the job is, yeah, it takes a long time, so that's why to me, it's very difficult to have a great life if in the doing of your job it takes a long time, you know, much more than the normal 40 hours a week. If you have, you know, if you got to cobble together a bunch of jobs and they end up to be much more than 40, yeah, it's going to be hard because you don't have enough time to enjoy the other parts of life. I don't think it's wise to think in terms of just loving your job and then doing that for, you know, 12, 14 hours a day. I just don't see how that's possible. I don't see it. I think the people who say that are just lying to themselves. But that isn't to say that you don't have to put in some long hours from time to time at your choosing, you know, to make some particular goals, to starting a business, or to make some sales quota or something, some big project at your work, yeah, obviously you might need to burn the midnight oil once in a while, but like on a consistent basis, no. No. Another way, what you'll be happier is if you don't get overly caught up in what other people are doing, what they're up to, what they are doing, what they're not doing. And this would include watching too much TV, and the things on the TV, the news would be, what are you doing in your spare time, right? You wouldn't be overly watching the news, and that would be worrying about what other people are doing. Well, it's kind of ridiculous to worry about what other people are doing. I would just focus on what you're doing, right? That's what I worry about. What am I doing? And I look at the news a little bit here and there, but the little bit I do, I find myself getting irritated and frustrated and enraged. So even that little bit might be too much. And then the other, the gossiping, the worrying about what so-and-so is doing, even on your favorite sporting teams, it doesn't really matter, does it? The more you can focus on what you're doing, the happier and better your life is going to be. I would spend plenty of time focused on things related to your health, and that's where not working so much will help you, because working on your health related things, that takes considerable time. Considerable time. Weight training, I talk about a lot of weight training in these videos, is something that I do multiple times a week, and that takes time to get in there, to doing it, to getting home, the recovering, the eating well, the sleeping well. All of that takes a lot of time. There's a certain amount of dental work, a certain amount of doctoring, supplementing, eating right, preparing meals, getting enough sleep, staying stress-free. All of that takes time, right? And the problem, if you don't do that, is your health deteriorates, and then you're left, with nothing, right? You don't have any health. You're not strong. You don't have any wind. You've been eating garbage food. You smoke, you drink, you drug. Yeah, all of that is going to catch up to you sooner rather than later, right? And we see this with a lot of men dying young. They're dying young because they're doing things that they shouldn't do. And even if you do things you should do, there's still no guarantee. What else for your health, for your what makes a happier older man? Kind of a big one that has to do with the doctoring is testosterone replacement therapy. That is a great method for you to feel very, very good. It makes you feel much younger. It gives you, a younger man has a high testosterone level, and one of the ways older men feel the worst is in where their testosterone level decreases. So if I were you, I would do some serious research into this and check that out. I go to an anti-aging clinic for this type of treatment, and it makes a world of difference. Some men are very, very depressed, and the depression is from the low testosterone. Now, I didn't really have that before I started the therapy. I wasn't depressed at all. I felt great because I had overcome these issues with my wife and ex-wife. But let's say health-wise, I was a little bit down. And so increasing that just improves how I feel overall. But let's say if you have a real depression, anxiety issue, that's probably, I would check into the testosterone replacement therapy. Just life in general, if you've when you're paying too much for other people in your life and you don't have enough money for yourself and your needs and desires, it's going to be very hard for you to have a good life. A lot of men, as you take on all these responsibilities for all these other people around you, and you're working like a dog, paying for all of their good lifestyle, and your lifestyle sucks. Well, you want to be careful about this. Sometimes it's very hard to get out of this. If your children are young, yeah, you're going to have a huge outgo. If you went through a divorce, you're probably going to owe your wife a ton of money, your ex-wife a ton of money. Yeah, that's all stuff you're going to have to work through. And that's what I worked my way through. Tons of money. I earned tons of money, and I gave away tons of money. But now I'm finally under control of my own finances, and it feels really, really good. I would say, you might have to grit your teeth and be poor for a long, long time, but eventually you'll get back to something more to your liking. There's no real easy way out of this. And you might have to scale back, how you think about what kind of lifestyle you want. That's probably a major contributor, is you want a high lifestyle and you really can't afford it, right? So those are some major ideas. The types of activities you do, that's up to you. I would focus on weight training and then low, not stressful cardio. I would not do so much of that. More walking. You can incorporate that here and there, but I would the types of exercise and training I would do, I would try to get stronger and try not to get injured. So certain forms of exercise don't add to your strength, and they are kind of guaranteed to get you injured. So I would be careful on that. Probably when you get older, this injury recovery, it takes really a long time. It really, really does. And I wish it didn't. I wish I'd get hurt and feel better in a week, but it's not proven to be the case. It usually takes a good long while. And just that general feeling of being in charge of my life and picking out things to do that I want to do, that really makes me feel good. And again, that gets back to not being involved with people who would overly restrict what I would like to do. When I was with my wife, I really I had very little freedom to do the things I wanted to do. It was kind of overly restrictive, and so that type of life isn't not good for a man. So that's kind of, you're with a bad woman if she's overly restrictive of what you'd like to do. So I think that will kind of cover many of these happier older men, what to do and what not to do. I hope that you give that a little bit of thought. All for now.